In this program, you'll use two RGB LEDs and let the random function decide which ones blink on and off in the void loop. In the void setup function, use the pin mode function 6 times to set up the legs of the RGB LEDs. I included a blank line in my program on line 7, so it's easier for me to see where I set up the first RGB LED on ports 2, 3, 4, and where I set up the second one on ports 5, 6, 7. Within the void loop function, the first thing you'll see is a digital write function, and that requires two arguments: the port you want to turn on or off, and whether you want to set that high or low. In past projects, we've used a port number for the first argument of digital write, so it may have looked like this, 3, high. But now we're inserting a function as an argument. The random function itself has two arguments. The first is the lowest value you want random to be able to select from. The second argument of the random function is the highest value you want random to be able to select from. So in this case, the eligible values for random are 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And that lines up perfectly with the ports that we've set up for our RGB LED. So when this line of code runs, random is going to select one of those numbers and then set it high with the high argument in the digital write function. The next line of code is a delay function with an argument of 1000. That means our code is going to pause here for 1000 milliseconds or 1 second with the random LED from line 15 in the high mode. The next line of code is a digital write function, and again we're going to use the random function to select a port number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7, and the low argument to turn off that LED. Next, there's a delay function of 1000 milliseconds or 1 second before the program reaches the end of the void loop, jumps back up to 15, and runs the digital write random, high function again. One thing to keep in mind as you're playing with this program is that these two random functions on lines 15 and 17 are completely separate from each other. So just because the random function chooses, for example, LED 6 to turn on, that doesn't mean that it's going to choose LED 6 to turn off. Every time the random function is run, it chooses randomly from the values that it can select from. You may also see that sometimes the loop will run and turn on, for example, port 3, turning on an LED, and then it may turn off port 2. Well, if port 2 is not lit already, you're not going to see anything happen. But you can be assured that it did in fact run and one of the ports was randomly turned low. The next time through the loop, it's possible that the random function will choose port 3 again. So again, you wouldn't see anything happen because port 3 is already high, and then the random function chooses port 3 again and sets it high again. So if you want to make sure that you're seeing lots of blinks and changes throughout your program, play with the delay so that the random function is selecting a different port to turn high and low really quickly.